Thank you for joining us at Miniature Wargaming Labs. Today we're going to do a building tutorial on the Dustback Helamite. So this is the Ash Waste Nomad riding bug. So we're going to do my favorite guy, the sniper guy. So we're going to put him together. And I don't expect you to watch the whole video. If there's a problem you're having putting together this model, just fast forward to where you see me gluing them. That's normally where you're going to get your issues. Oh, and I should note the way I put this guy together is he can actually, I'm going to paint him as a sub-assembly. So I don't actually glue these guys together because it'll just make it easier and faster to paint. So let's go ahead and get started on this guy. Thank you for joining us today at Miniature Wargaming Labs. Today we are going to do a build with us, and we're going to put together the Ash Waste Nomads on Helamites. So this is the bug riders. And so I have here is I have my baking dish, and I've got my instruction booklet, I've got the base, and I've got one of the sprues from the box. And so we're going to open the instructions here. Now let's talk about how we're going to get started. We're going to need a metal file, X-Acto blade, got some good sharp German clippers here. And then we are going to use some plastic glue. Alright, so to get started, we're going to take our frame, we're going to look at instructions here, and we're going to start writing cutting off the pieces. Now you can see at the beginning they have alternate backs there. So we're going to cut the pieces out, lay them on the instructions, but remember there's alternates, so we're going to start making choices here. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our clippers and we're going to start matching up the numbers. So I'm looking for, let's start with a 2, and you'll notice the clippers have a flat edge to them. And with that, I am going to take the flat edge and I'm going to put it as tight to the model as possible. I'm going to clip it off. And this is where we're trying to shear as much of the sprue gate off as possible in that clip without cutting into the model. Then we're going to set it down right there. Alright, so you can see you can just keep on going down through the pieces, and everything's numbered here. It's not like Warlord frames where they forget to number them sometimes, or more of a Crisis Protocol. That gets annoying after a while. Alright, so we're going to go clip these out, and we're going to build the sniper guy on the mount there. So I'll be back in a moment. Now you can see we have all the pieces clipped out, so you can actually see it's not that many pieces. A lot of these are just assembly and options instructional. So for example, this is like a before and after you attach the legs. So this is the left rear leg, the right rear leg, left forearm, right forearm, and this will show you how it's supposed to hook in on the reverse side from what they show in the instructions. So we made our options for shells and what kind of banner we're going to have on the back. Got some options there. Now let's go ahead and move on to the next step. So what we're going to do is, let's get a good example of it. So these legs are an excellent example. The sprue gates were so large, they left little pieces attached to the frame there. So what we're going to do is these little nubbins here, we are going to scrape off with an X-Acto blade. We're going to get those flush. And it's especially important on the legs because they are noticeable. Then what we can do is you'll notice that where each one of those sprue gates connected, there might be like a thin line that you see. That might show up on your paint job, so there's two ways to deal with that. You can take the flat side of your X-Acto blade, like Games Workshop also sells a mold line removal kit. You can go like that and see how it does, or I normally just go for a metal file, and that takes care of it real quick. Now, importantly, especially with Necromunda models and the individual guys, you're going to want to make sure to clean up the joints that are going to plug into the model. The reason that is it actually makes for a good fit, because these things are designed with very little forgiveness, a high tolerance match on the line. So what we're going to do is just go around all the models and clean them up, and then we'll be back to start assembly. Alright, everything's all cleaned and ready to fit, and it's a good idea to clean these things because you got the mold lines running through here. There's a little nub in there, and that would affect the overall fit. So now we're going to take our plastic glue, and we're actually going to not completely assemble this. We're going to do it in sub-assemblies, but as these are Necromunda models and they're always finicky, always dry fit. Make sure you know where it's going and how it's going on there. So this part is probably the more dull part of the video, but you're actually going to watch me assemble it. And I like to use plastic glue because it sticks right away but doesn't lock right away. Unlike super glue, which takes a little bit to dry. Okay, that tail fits on there. Okay. Now, reason I like plastic glue, especially for Necromunda models, is a lot of times you're trying to connect things and you don't know if you have the alignment right. It gives you just enough play to keep going there and adjust if you make a mistake. How does this little bugger go on? It goes behind. Alright, so what the heck? Okay, so it's that thing. That's, oh, okay. I thought, so it goes on there. Alright. I misunderstood. Okay, so I need, these are adapters. These right underneath. Okay. I assemble Necromunda models a lot. I like Necromunda models. And they're always surprising me. I totally misunderstood that picture there. I thought this was just an option. But that's alright. And remember, if you've got to walk away or do anything, seal up the plastic glue. That stuff smells, especially the GW stuff. And I am in an enclosed room, so it's definitely going to stink up. Alright, got that smoothed out. Alright, now, that makes a lot more sense. Boom. Okay. Okay, there we go. Got that on. Now, so this is spiky ridge goes forward. Okay, like that. Cool. Just put a little glue there. Like that. Alright. And what I'm going to do, here's I'm going to skip down. I'm going to put this on first. Now what happens, like I said, this stuff has some play. So now I'm going to let this sit, and I'm going to do the legs separately, adding them on. But I want this guy to cure a little bit more, because when I start messing with these legs, I don't want to start knocking this stuff out of alignment. Alright, so now that's fine, because, alright, we want to do his little rider. Okay. Actually, the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to take torso, fit it underneath. Okay. Remember, you don't need that much plastic glue. got a little play in there, so I can just, because putting the legs together and then inserting the guy, that was just asking for a misalignment. And there we go. That looks good. All right. Now let's go on, do the head. All right, and then so now here's the tricky part. I want to make sure the hand and the weapon system sit on here properly. So let me just, that guy will sit like that, but I'm not going to glue him to it, because I want to do is I want to paint this guy separately from that guy. But I need to make sure all the weapons line up, so I'm going to just hold him down, push him down with the finger there, so I'm going to hold him in place. And we'll put, looks like he's supposed to, looks like the barrel's supposed to fit there. How is that supposed to work? Oh, okay, he rides further back like that. Okay, so he sits back like that. And this thing goes in that part of the armor. And this is why I like plastic glues, because I've got a lot of time to play here. Let me see. What's right there? You know what? Yep, that looks right. Okay, now holding him in place, I've got a sense of where I want him. Time to attach the right arm. We're just going to do it at the socket, like I said, because I want to be able to get my paintbrush into this guy. All right. So let's switch hands and switch grips. There we go. Now that we've got him set, I don't want him gluing himself to this guy. Alright, carefully separating him off. Okay. There we go. You rest right there, little dude. Okay. Now, let's start talking legs. Okay, you know what? I'm going to do the front legs first. Those seem easier. Yep, those will be easier. And then I can decide how I want the rear legs to attach on. So, there. I don't expect you to watch the whole video. It's just instructional. Help you out if there's a part you're not understanding on the model, you can watch me mess it up. Okay, so let's dry fit this one here. And alright, let's get this guy on a little bit more on camera. So what I'm going to do is I got his front legs in. Those fit in a way that you can't mess up. So let's just go ahead and check. There we go. Okay. Make sure you get the fit and the angle right. See, that was kind of a dry fit onto the base, because I want to make sure that this plane and this plane match up. So I've got what feels like the right fit. You just make sure, put it on here, if everything fits flush. Let's do the other leg. It's going to be the same procedure. Get that in. Okay. Alright, now let's balance this. Cool. Alright, so now we've got the guy all squeezed together. While there's still a little bit of play in these hip joints, I'm going to let's do the last bit. And so what I'm going to do is hold down his paw here and then squeeze down on the base here. Actually seems like you can play a little bit with the cant of the model. Alright, so I'm going to press down. See, I'm paying attention to the model, not the where the camera is. So press down on these feet. There's still some play in the hips. There we go. Now this guy should be solid. And he'll squeeze down into there. So that is a badass model. Oop, I try not to use my foul language here. And here we go. Look at that guy. Very nice. Very nice indeed. Well, thank you for joining us at Miniature Wargaming Labs, and we'll see you next time.